And thank you so much for keeping it TV47. It is time for the news now with me, Alela. Lots are lined up for you, but of course we start off on a sad note where 6 people have perished and 43 others sustained injuries following a road accident along the Londiani-Muhoroni Highway. Confirming the accident, Kericho Police Commander James Ngetech says that the crash, which involved a bus and a lorry ferrying coal, occurred at around 5:40 a.m. The bus was traveling from Nairobi to Busia and the lorry was heading in the same direction. Now, 30 of those rescued are seriously injured and 13 have sustained minor injuries and are currently receiving treatment at Fortan and Londiani Sub-County Hospital.
Gari nilikata mwendo wa saa 1 ya jioni. Sasa tukakuja bila wasiwasi kwa barabara. Kufika hapa kitu saa 11 pia ya gipambazuka, ajali katokea. Mimi nilikuwa tu nilikuwa kwa earphone nikisikiliza news, lakini niliona kitu si cha kawaida kimechange. Gari imegonga gari nyingine ya lori ilikuwa imebeba vitu makaa.
Ningeomba kabisa serikali wachukulikie hii barabara kabisa. Hii barabara imetupea kabisa noma kabisa.
Ajali hiyo ilihusishwa na basi ambayo inaitwa Uwezo, kampuni ya Uwezo na lori ambao haya magari mawili yalikuwa yakielekea sehemu za Kisumu, na inasemekana ya kwamba hiyo gari ama hiyo basi ili lose control akakonga ile trailer ambayo ilikuwa mbele yake. Sisi tukiwa madaktari wa mashinani tukakimbia mpaka sehemu ambayo hiyo ajali ilifanyika na tukaweza kuokoa watu wengi, ingawaje kunao ambao waliweza kupoteza maisha yao. Miongoni wao ni maabiria 5 na driver moja.
And 10 students were injured in a mid-morning accident in Kimende along Nairobi-Nakuru Highway after the driver of the bus they were traveling in veered off the road, ditching in a drainage. This happened while traveling, that is to Siaya County. And according to eyewitnesses, the accident was likely caused by the driver's fatigue as no other vehicles were involved. Residents in the area are now calling upon National Transport and Safety Authority to enhance traffic rules where long-distance public services vehicles must have 2 drivers. The injured were rushed to Kijabe Mission Hospital.
Like this accident, inaonekana huyu driver ni kutoka kwa akili. Maybe hata si kupenda kwake to cause this accident, but because of the tiredness cause this accident. So mimi kwa SACCOS, NTSA, wote long distance car they should have 2 drivers. Now I emphasize on that. Kuthirie baadhi ne ku maretwa makwa njitagwo George Njoroge Wanyoike.
Naitwa Kimani Robert, mkaaji wa hapa Kimende. Hapa asubuhi hii barabara yetu imekuwa na shida mingi sana kwa sababu kila kuchao kunakuwa na accident. Hii ni kwa sababu ya namba ya magari zimeongezeka zaidi na hii barabara imekuwa nyembamba. Hii barabara sisi tumeweza tukutoa wenye walikuwa wameumia, walikuwa kama 6 na wamekibizwa hospitali ambayo inatusaidia sana hapa ya Kijabe Hospital, na sasa tunaamini ya kwamba wanatibiwa wote.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has reaffirmed the government's firm stance in the fight against banditry and the illegal possession of firearms, while raising concern over the growing problem of drug abuse among young people. Speaking during a gathering at Chelingwa in Elgeyo Marakwet, that is county, saying the government has intensified operations in the banditry-prone areas to restore peace and protect lives. Murkomen also called on parents and leaders to remain vigilant and united in the fight against drug and substance abuse, which continues to threaten the future of the youth.
So tunataka kusongesha Kainu nini Songi mpaka huko. Peleke pale inaitwa Silale, songe Kapedo, tukisanya mabunduki mpaka Kerio Valley ikuwe clean, because hatutapata amani ya kudumu kama bunduki bado iko katika mikono ya watu ambao sio askari. Nataka tutibu hii ugonjwa from the source, especially hii pombe yenye iko kwa sachet na hii spirits yenye imemaliza watoto wetu. Na ya kusema ukweli, watoto wengi wanakunywa hii kitu wakati wamepona, kumbe imezima waya, imepeleka mbegu Sasa inakuwa tu ni hewa, hakuna kitu kingine inaweza.
The High Court in Kerugoya will on January 29th rule on whether the government can import 254,000 metric tons of rice to address a national shortage blamed on a prolonged drought. Justice Edward Mureithi reserved the decision after the state argued that local production meets only 20% of Kenya's annual rice demand of up to 1.5 million tons, warning that the deficit could worsen in the first half of 2026. Well, farmers opposed the move, saying they have enough rice and accused the government of failing to buy from them. Now, the government, lawyers Samuel Kaumba as well as Eric Theuri, maintained that drought had slashed output, projecting need for about 750,000 tons by early 2026 against an expected local supply of just 110,000 tons, a claim farmers' lawyer and Andrew Muge strongly disputed.
Even what they are proposing is also causing a disruption, so that it's a balancing act. We are praying that the court balances the both interests.
What we shall do is, if we are not able to give full directions on the hearing of the petition on 29th, I can give you a day or two to consider the ruling. Then we will deal. Yeah?
That's fine.
Thank you very much. So you have agreed. We come back on 29th of January at 2:30. Could I confirm?
Yes, 2:30.
At 2:30 for ruling on the matter.
The question is, must the government wait for political pressure? Demonstrations will come, deaths will come, malnutrition will come, for it to act.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party has warned politicians against dragging his name into Azimio coalition candidate Raila Odinga's loss in the 2022 general election. Speaking after the party's NEC meeting on Monday, the Jubilee, led by Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiang'i, termed the claims as desperate attempt by the government and its allies within ODM to use Uhuru as a scapegoat in an alleged push to weaken and take over the party.
We would like to request our colleagues in the national leadership. We believe they have much more work to do that they need to spend time on, so that they'll spend less time on our party leader, stop attacks on our party leader, and stop dragging our party leader into irrelevancies, things that have nothing to do with him or Jubilee. We understand that the popularity of our party leader is very intimidating to some leaders in this country. He can't call a national meeting to tell Kenyans not to love him. They love him because of his track record. Yes. And I think those who are uncomfortable, some of them, is because of their track record. So they could do better with working on their track record instead of attacking our party leader.
All right, Migori Senator Eddie Oketch has withdrawn a motion seeking the removal of ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna just hours after initiating plans to have him de-whipped or expelled from the Orange Democratic Movement Party. The letter, written by his advocates and addressed to the ODM party chairperson, Senator Oketch says the decision to withdraw the austere motion was reached after wide consultations with the party leadership, including Oburu Odinga, and out of respect for the ideals and spirit of the party's founding leader, the late Raila Odinga. Now, the letter notes that despite what is described as offensive remarks allegedly made by Senator Edwin Sifuna against the party and some of its members, Senator Oketch was persuaded by the party leadership to abandon the expulsion bid. Oketch wants the ODM leadership to pursue alternative internal party mechanisms aimed at fostering dialogue and achieving an amicable resolution to the emerging dispute that is within the party. Goes ahead, Senator Oketch has now called on the ODM leadership to take firm steps to protect the party and its members from sustained attacks, while also ensuring unity and discipline within the party ranks. Kiharu Member of Parliament and a former Budget and Appropriations Committee Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro has threatened a massive strike by senior secondary school parents if the government fails to release the full capitation by mid-term. Nyoro says school principals are in limbo following the recent capitation release, as they are uncertain whether to roll over the funds to clear last year's pending bills. The warning comes just days after the government released about 44.2 billion shillings for the education sector, out of which 26 billion was allocated to senior secondary schools.
Last week, we told the government clearly that they needed to release a circular in terms of capitation, or we were going to do some unspecified actions. So I'm also now calling the government. You have not funded schools in the year 2026. You've only sent 109 shillings only to run our schools for this term. This first phase, we are going to make it as our obligation, first of all, to make all the stakeholders aware that what the government is saying is actually not true. It is incorrect. And we are going to observe within this term on the behavior, the demeanor, the body language of government, and especially in terms of sending money, not stories. And by the time we are going to the mid-term, we expect the government to have sent the real money for this term, failure to which we are going to mobilize all the Kenyan parents to demand what is their right. And their right is that they pay taxes. Free basic education has been there in Kenya. The Kenyan parents cannot continue to observe silently as the government continues to tear down and annihilate.
Rescue operations have entered day 5 in Nairobi's South Sea area, where efforts are ongoing to reach a security guard still trapped beneath the rubble. This follows the collapse of a 16-story building that was under construction. Now let's now cross over to get what's the latest. Juliet Kimwe on ground. Juliet, if you can hear me.
Thank you so much, Alela. Indeed, I can get you very clear. I am here at South Sea, where a building collapsed early on Friday morning at around 4 in the morning. We are here. The operations are still ongoing to rescue one security guard that is still beneath the rubble. According to the manager of the operations ongoing, the disaster management unit, that is William Sifuna, he said a few moments ago that they have managed to see where the location of the second guard is. On Sunday, the first guard was rescued, and today the post-mortem was done, and he was buried according to the Islamic rituals, following the rituals that the Islams do during the burial. At this moment, Alela, nothing much is happening apart from the operation intensifying at this moment. We are expecting CS for Public Service Jeffrey Ruku, to be here at any moment to give his briefing. At the moment, Alela, the operations, as you can see behind me, the operations are still ongoing in the search of the one security guard that is still beneath the rubble. That is all that I have for now, but we will keep updating our viewer on any detail available. Back to you, Alela, in studio.
Thank you so much, Juliet, for the updates. Certainly expecting more later on the day. Now, as the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, GOPET, prepares for county elections, teachers in Elgeyo Marakwet have been urged to embrace issue-based campaigns as well as shun hate speech. Now, candidates vying for various GOPET positions made the appeal after submitting their nominations, that is the papers, warning that divisive language could weaken the union. They went ahead to call on teachers to elect leaders, that is, with sound policies, integrity, as well as goodwill to address challenges facing educators in the county. The polls are scheduled to take place between the 10th and 14th of this month.
My theme through this election and campaign period is unity of purpose. Let us unite the teachers of Elgeyo Marakwet. Our staff rooms, apart from being our workplace, is also our second home.
Kura iko wapi? Iko pale. Hakuna hapa. Mambo ya ofisi hatuna haya maneno. Now I want to wish all the best my adversarial and competitors, and may the best candidate win.
Let's take time out of the 4 aspirants whom I believe they have submitted their nomination papers. Can you go for a sober? And that aspirant that you feel he will serve you right.
As they take on the Stallions of Burkina Faso in what promises to be a high-octane clash in Mali. All right, 15 minutes past the top of the hour. That is the much we had for you in the news now. Of course, certainly more coming your way later at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. So make sure to keep it TV47. My name is Linda Alela. Good evening.